What's up, everybody? Today I have found myself digging into my door locks because I don't have keys, and I'm going to rip one apart and just show you what's inside, what's involved in making a key for these. It's not something that the everyday Joe's going to tackle, because there's some specialty tools you have to actually do this. A pinning kit and a couple more little tools. But I'm gonna get started on just ripping one apart. Thought you guys might be curious what's inside. We're gonna start out with the clip on the back of the lock here. It's got a little hole down there that kind of keeps it locked in so they don't just slip off. So you just kind of prime up just a little bit so you can slide it off. And sometimes they're a little difficult to get started, and really easy to poke a screwdriver in your finger by doing this. So I got it started, I got it past the hole, so I can actually pull it off and it just slides off. It's just a little clip. So I'll lay it to the side here, and then that comes off with it. So another specialty tool, which you can actually do it with some other pliers, but these make it a little easier. See, these pliers has got I don't know if you can, oh, wait a minute, wrong way. They're kind of hooked on the end. And what I've got to do is I've got to rip off this chrome cover right here. And I've got another one somewhere. What do I do with it? There it is. And you've got replacement ones that just kind of crimp on. You see it's got a little step in it, and you actually just bend them back over when you're putting them on. But so anyway, let me get it ripped off of here. You just have to grab the little lip and get it started. Once you get it started, it gets a little easier. So you just peel it back like a sardine can. Let me get these kind of ripped off of here. It's been a long time since I did one of these. Here in a minute, it'll just kind of pop off of there. There we go. It's getting there. Probably gonna rip through my glove. Let me hit it a couple more times. There we go. And what came out of here, let me get this camera back on here. What came out of here was a spring. There's a spring there, and one goes in there, which I've got in my hand. That's what holds pressure on the little dust cover door where you put your key in at. So I'll pull that spring out of there, and more than likely it's going to be stuck. Here, let me get it all pulled apart. There we go. So I got both little springs. That's what it looks like on the inside. It's got a little sidebar. The wafers are kept under there, and there's a set of springs under that. And I've already pre-cut a set of keys that I'm gonna use. And I just cut a random number. I've got a key machine that I can cut keys by number instead of copying it like you've seen at some of your stores. And I'm gonna pry that little cover up to expose all the wafers. So let me get it up, and you have to be careful that the little tab don't break off in the lock, because if it does, they're real difficult to get back out. I know I'm blocking the camera, but there ain't really no other way to do it. There we go. Let's see, I pulled that retainer clip off, because there's a few things you have to replace. I mean, I could actually bend that back in place and use it, but it's pretty bent up. I don't want to reuse that. But now you can see all the springs sticking up. So I'm gonna pull all them out. Some of those springs I can reuse if I didn't mess them up with a screwdriver. There are 6 of them in there. Now, what we're gonna do, and I should have brought a key blank in here with me. You can see some of the wafers are coming up through the holes. That's probably really hard to see on the camera, but I'm gonna try to see. There's one right there. That's what a lot of people call tumblers, which they're actually wafers. All right, there's 2 out now. I've got a pick that I can kind of put in there just to get them kind of started. All right, there's 2 more. All right. And now I've got 2 left. Let's see if I can. I know I'm blocking the camera on some of this, but this ain't no easy way to get it out. There's always one left. It tries to be difficult. I got a little deeper pick here. Oh, I shot it across the table. There we go. All right, so now, yeah, I think I got all of them out. So now they're all empty. And now let me get my pinning kit set up and get some of this stuff cleared out of the way, and we'll pick it back up. All right, we're back. I had to grab a pair of tweezers for the next part. They're little special pin tweezers, which we're not using pins, we're using wafers. And here's my kit that's got all the wafers in it, and you'll see here, they're numbered GM 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So there's 5 depths, and there's actually 6 spaces. And it's got other pins in here too. See, those are actually pins like for an old Ford and Chrysler also. But this is an early kit. All your late model vehicles now use something a little bit different, but it's basically the same principle. And the way this works, here I'll pull a new one out. See if you can see it. Here, let me get this camera where to stand up by itself. So there's a notch right in the side. You can kind of see the light glare on it. There's a notch in it, and on each wafer it's in a different position. And this little sidebar that's on the side of this lock right there, it's got a little just a little bar that goes into that section, and when you get the key in the right position, the correct key, it lets that sidebar go in just like it is now, because there's nothing in it. Once we get all the wafers in there, they'll actually be sticking out that sidebar wheel. It's like a deadbolt, and that's what keeps the lock from turning when there's no key in it. And when you put the correct key in, everything lines up and that sidebar drops down. So let me get this camera turned back around, and we'll go ahead and pin it up and see if our key works. Right back. All right, what I'm gonna do first, wafers actually go in first. I've got my key number wrote down over to the side here, and I'm not gonna announce what that key number is, because if you know the key number you could actually go to a locksmith, have that key made, and come take my truck. All right, so we got that one started. Okay, so that's the first one. What we're gonna do is put all 6 of them in. I don't know how good I'm doing to where you can see this. So I got the second one in. It's not a bad idea. If you don't know your key code to your vehicle, you could go by a locksmith shop and they could actually read your key and write that information down, because if you're out at a show out of town and you lose your key, you can call a locksmith and they can come out and cut you another key and not have to disassemble anything on the truck. And that even goes for any of your late model vehicles. When you buy a vehicle new, you can request your key code. Even if it's a transponder, it's going to help in the price if they actually have the key code already. You know, if it's one of those computer keys, and possibility it'd be a little bit cheaper. It's always good to have your key code. So, all right, I've got all the wipers in, and so now the camera turn back on. Now, if you'll notice, I'm not sure how good you can see it, that little sidebar sticking up now. So what we're going to do now is we're going to load our springs back in. Those little tiny springs. I'm going to load them back in. So there's the first one, and they'll try to jump out on you, but once you push them down in there, they'll kind of stay. Spring number 2, and my phone's going off. And it's my wife. I'll be right back. All right, I'm back. So I've got my springs in while I was talking to her. I got them all in. And I thought I had another retainer clip, but I don't, so I'm gonna have to reuse the old one. And that's what holds all the springs down. So I took and kind of straightened it back out, and it just kind of slips in on each side of it. Let me get it. I was trying to rotate. Let me get it up. Sometimes when you reuse it, I didn't get it bent back just right, but it'll still work. I've used them lots of times, reused them. There we go. Let's see. All right. And what you want to do is fire these pliers up in there. Just kind of get that pushed down in there so it's smooth across there. And what I'll do is I'll take and kind of brad it down with a little punch on each end, just so it won't jump up, because if that little cap comes up inside of your housing, it'll lock it up. Even though it's the correct key, it'll lock it up. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna give it a little test. I'm just holding it with my finger. Give it a little test run, and see it goes down flush. And I don't know how much you can see this on camera, but I'm gonna pull the key out, and I don't know if you saw it go up, but as I put it in, it drops down, and it's just slight, because inside this, you know, there's little notches. I don't know how much you can see. It's inside there. That's what actually locks it. So I'm gonna go over here to the vise, and I'm gonna brad this down real quick, and I'll be right back. All right, I got it braided down. And all there's left to do now is put it back in the housing. So it just goes in, and it really won't go in, but if you put it in wrong, see, it's going to stick up. You can kind of rotate it around so it won't go in because the back is shaped a certain way. So, but once you, and actually that little section where the wafers go in, actually go into that open part, because it supposedly will let dirt and dust out and all that. But what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna put my little springs back in the front. Let's get them locked in there, because there's a little post in there that they kind of sit on along with the hole, which sometimes is hard to get them started. There we go. Once you kind of push them in there, they'll kind of stay. And then you got the little dust cover, as they call it. It'll only really go in one way. It's got a little relief in there for where the little pin sticks to. So once you can feel that it's in place, you can take the new cap, and let me grab a screwdriver. I'm gonna lay that there. But you have to bend the tabs back down. You have to bend the tabs back down on that cover. So let's set this out of the way. So I'm gonna put that back like so. Let it sit there. This will go over the top, and it'll push down. See, and I'm all the way down over it. So I'm gonna keep pressure on it. Make sure I got this turned around where it's not gonna hit anything. And I'm gonna push this side in, and then I'm gonna kind of rotate it around and push the other side in. And see, now it's locked in. So I'll just continue to go around, because there's only 4 tabs. And you want to make sure you get them down good, because they will dig into your paint if you don't have a gasket, and could cause a little rust. So what I'm gonna do, this is a pretty good wide blade screwdriver here. I'm gonna just kind of give it a little tap. This is probably not the best thing to be hammering on, because it's kind of soft. Yeah, I think we got it. Alright, I've got them all down, and all we've got left now is to put the arm back on. It only goes on one way. The clip is only really going to go on one way. So we're going to push it back on. And as soon as I pushed it on, that little tab went down in that hole right there. And so it's locked on now. See, I can push it, and it doesn't want to come off. So yeah, let's give it a try. Now the back part is going to turn some, because it has to have play in it because of the linkage in the truck. And it turns. And then I'll show you. I'll put my key partial way in. See, it won't turn. Go all the way in, and it turns completely. But that's how a mid, I don't know, that started out, I guess it'd be the same all the way back up in the 50s. I can't remember exactly when GM started using the wafers. I know they were like that in the 50s. But this lock here is actually going on my 1978 Chevrolet C10. So and they, like I said, the newer model vehicles still use a wafer type lock. They're just kind of different now. They change everything, but this worked good for many years. But I'm gonna install it in the truck, and let me get the camera set up over there. I'll be right back. All right, we're here at the truck, and there's really no easy way for me to try to do this single-handed and hold the camera, but you just put that in that way and just kind of rotate it around until it's right side up, and you go on the back side and you pop this clip on, and let me get it all popped together and then I'll show you the little test run. All right, we got the clip on. There's my, works good. Now I went ahead and like lubricated the latch, since I've actually got the door panel off on the inside. There's no glass in there or anything, so I was able to get to my latch real good and lubricated it real good. The door handle works good, and that's the original door handle, so it's there's not any rubber in the door or anything. But yeah, keys work good. I hadn't tried all of them. Let me try these other two just to make sure. And they'll be a little rough until that key gets just a little bit of wear on it. Yep, it all works good. And now all I've got to do is the other side, and my door locks will be done, and I can lock up my goodies in there, my honey buns and my sweet cakes and adult beverages and whatever else you want to keep in there. But a lot of you guys that's got classic cars and you don't have working door locks, I mean, it's unless your latches and everything are just junk, I mean, it's not a big deal to take your locks out and have a locksmith make you some keys. And with a little bit of penetrating oil, you could probably get your latches going. But the locks themselves, I mean, are really no big deal. Just with a little bit of time, you could get your latches working and be able to lock your car and to protect your belongings. I hope everybody enjoyed this video, and if you would, like, share, subscribe, and come back and see us again. All right, bye.